event celebrating 3 new exhibitions. Coordinates, which is on view in the main galleries, Death in Venice, Warrington Colescott and Thomas Mann in the Henry Street Gallery, and of course Wisconsin Pastoral, the early paintings of Lois Ireland, which is installed in the State Street Gallery. We are also marking the 10th year of the museum's popular rooftop cinema series, which begins tonight at sundown, so we hope you can join us for that as well. Emoca Nights are generously sponsored by Newcomb Construction Company and the Alexander Company, with additional support from Fresco and media support from Isthmus. Death in Venice, Warrington Colescott and Thomas Mann is funded through an endowment established by the Pleasant T. Rowland Foundation for exhibitions in the Henry Street Gallery. Funding for Coordinates has been provided by the Diatley Family Foundation, Sarah Geyer and Scott Strauss, and Nancy and Tom Mose. Generous support for Wisconsin Pastoral, the early paintings of Lois Ireland, has been provided by Dan and Natalie Erdman, Miller Coors, Dane Arts, and the Terry Family Foundation. Both Coordinates and Wisconsin Pastoral are supported by a grant from the Wisconsin Arts Board, with funds from the state of Wisconsin and National Endowment for the Arts and local volunteers. Before introducing Lois Ireland, we would like to acknowledge Warrington Colescott, who is in the audience this evening, and his extraordinary work as a visual artist. Warrington, would you please stand or raise your hand? And would you please Warrington's exhibition features his full Death in Venice portfolio, as well as a selection of preparatory drawings and paintings made during his visit to Venice in 1970. It's really extraordinary to have it, and thank you, Warrington, for being here tonight. Needless to say, we are so pleased that Lois Ireland is also here this evening to talk about her work. Born in Waunakee in 1928, Lois started drawing as a preschool child. According to John Rector Barton in his book, Rural Artists of Wisconsin, Lois's mother said that the best way to keep Lois out of mischief when she was little was simply to give her a pencil and some sheets of paper. She continued to draw and paint throughout her childhood, taking lessons and dedicating herself to improving her craft. Her breakthrough came in 1942 when the American regionalist John Stuart Curry encountered her work while he was artist in residence at the University of Wisconsin-Madison's College of Agriculture and head of the Wisconsin Rural Art Program, which Lois later joined as one of its youngest members. She pursued studies at the University of Wisconsin-Madison as well as at the Art Students League in New York, returning to Waunakee and eventually settling in Oconomowoc, where she raised her 2 sons. Today, Lois lives near Minneapolis, where she continues to paint. She is a recipient of the 2015 Wisconsin Visual Art Achievement Award, presented jointly by the Museum of Wisconsin Art, the Wisconsin Academy of Sciences, Arts, and Letters, and the Wisconsin Visual Artists Organization. Please offer Lois a warm welcome.
Are you working there?
Huh?
You turned on your mic?
I didn't touch it. I don't have technology.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Waunakee's changed a little bit.
I didn't even know my own house now.
Did you go by today?
Yeah, we did today.
And, and is the house still standing?
It's there. I thought it was gone. But it's still standing. It's nice. They fixed it up real pretty. And it's got trees in it now. Around the house. Never used to.
But a little less farmland in Waunakee than there used to be.
Yeah.
Well, starting at the beginning, tell me a little bit about your family growing up and how somebody from Waunakee started taking art lessons in Madison.
Oh, well, it goes way back before even Madison. I was in the grade school. I was in the first grade. Our teacher put a Van Gogh work on the classroom, and his sunflowers got me turned on, I guess. 7 years old. And then she had me decorating the whole darn room, and then I was not doing my lessons. So then when I got the upper grade, I was flunked twice. She
started early, at 7
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
And for you, it was, when did you begin to have a clue that this was it for you?
I don't know, I seem to like to draw beer kegs first of all.
Started in Wisconsin's thing to do.
Well, I like the curves instead of straight lines. Straight lines are harder. I think.
You still think that?
Pardon?
You still believe that?
Yeah, I do more, something like betting more. I think, no.
But eventually, what, you were 12 years old and you came to Madison and began to study outside of school.
Well, I actually went to Wisconsin High School, the university, and it's torn down now, but I went back and forth to Wanakee to Madison to take art in high school. So Miss Ruth Alcott was a teacher there. And she got me a job up the hill with an ag hall and ag journalism with Byron C. Jones. And I just loved to work up there. I didn't get much, $1.50 an hour, and that's a lot.
For the time, it was probably pretty good.
Yeah, no. But I love working up there. And George was sort of my, well, kind of, critiquing my work and stuff, so. And we had to do farm bulletins to send out to the farmers, illustrate farm bulletins for the farmers.
So tell me about your first encounter with John Stewart Curry.
Oh, yes, and,
You were a young lady.
I was like 14. And,
He had seen your work in a
yeah,
restaurant?
yeah, in Jack Burke Steakhouse in Westport there.
Yeah,
Of course, it's all different looking now. Amy saw that duck flying out of the water, and usually I don't do wildlife. I think I did that wildlife thing, and he said, I'd like to see that girl that did that painting. So, my folks drove me to the studio then. Catherine, my sister, got me an appointment with them to bring some stuff in for him to look at. And I could just see him in the door, he scared the heck out of me.
Well, he's sitting right here.
But I mean, to me, I just worshipped him. I mean, I just couldn't believe I was really gonna meet him, Well, kids, when you're teenagers. But anyway, liked my work and thought I should go to the high school there before I went to the high school. Got me in there. So, because I teach art there, so I went there to high school instead of Wanakee.
And he was, of course, the artist in residence at the
Yeah.
ag school.
Yeah.
And he had started the Wisconsin Rural Art Program.
Yes, he did with Barton, John Barton. And they started the Rural Art Program.
Which was a very sort of progressive idea.
Yeah.
It was about really trying to bring together people who lived in rural areas and in the city, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you,
At first, they didn't think that I would be able to get in that show because Wanakee was almost part of Mass. I should be further away, I guess. But when he saw my work, then I got in the show, in the rural art movement.
and did that program have a lot to do with the development of your work?
Oh, yeah, because they bought my work. Nobody else did.
That was your lifeline.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that's why I painted like mad. I made $200, you know.
And what was Curry like? Was he difficult, demanding?
Well, he was a very pleasant man. He had quite a sense of humor. Yeah, I know I went to this one salon show, and they put up one of my pictures and not the other one, and Curry came along. I was with Catherine and my mother, and he said, well, here you are at the show. And I said, yeah, they only put one of my pictures. Like a dirty dog.
Did you ever have an opportunity to meet either Thomas Hart Benton or Grant
No,
Wood?
I saw him in Alfred Sessler's class. I was in Alfred Sessler's class, and Benton was in there, but I didn't want to go over there. You know, kind of corny, wouldn't it? I mean, if you're a student, the other student probably think, well, look at her, you know.
You wish you had?
I wish I had met him, yeah.
Amazing trilogy of artists. Now, you were in school for a couple of years at the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah. Then I went to New York.
You went to New York, so you need to tell me about that decision because it's a big change, obviously. I mean, people sometimes confuse Wanakee and New York City. It's a little different.
No subways.
Exactly.
Those subways. Oh. Dirty. I had to wash my clothes every night from the subways.
But you were enrolled at the rather famous Art Students League.
Oh no. I got into realist. I wanted a realist, you know, a teacher that taught realism. So I got in Frank Dumont's class, but I did the old man's head with a beard. I guess it's not the show here. But anyway, I worked a whole week on that particular face. He was up on a platform. And here I found out Frank Dumont wasn't even living. The class was running around.
She just told me that not long ago.
I hope your tuition refund.
So I didn't go on that face.
Now you had one painting instructor, and I read that he referred to you as a stubborn Midwesterner.
Oh, that was over at West Bend. West Bend.
Oh,
He was innovating. Snotty little kid. He's like a big, he's pretending to be a big shot, you know. That's the only moment I had anybody interview me the whole way that one time.
I can see it made an impression. So, were you here for sort of the great debate in the 40s, perhaps, between the school that surrounded John Stuart Curry and the school that surrounded John Wilby and some of the more European surrealist taken artists? You don't really remember it? No.
I knew Aaron
Bora?
Aaron Moore.
Right.
He was a quiet fellow, but he was a wonderful artist.
So talk a little bit about your approach to painting. Do do you work very deliberately? Do you work with studies? Do you make preparatory drawings?
Yes, I do. I'm interested in design, mostly. I like design and color with it. So when I drive with my son out around the upper part of Wisconsin, real hills up there, and I sometimes when I see something out there, I don't stop and draw it. I wait till I get to my room, and then I sketch it off with what I remember. Sometimes it'll turn out better than if you did the darn thing right there.
So you're not married to the idea that something has to be an exact depiction?
No. I like to make pretty, make a design out of it. I don't, I change things around in it. Like that snow scene, I moved that, what do they call it, water tower, 2 blocks. Just went in.
That's right.
To fit it to the design of it.
That's probably where they should have put it anyway.
So,
And
it's
so,
sort of like engineers. See, my boys are engineers, see, and I follow engineering work quite a bit on television. It's so interesting to me.
do you see that as related to your artistic
Oh,
activity?
yeah.
How so?
Oh, they have to correct things. See, I like to do a lot of corrections on my work after they're done. So they do that in their work too.
Do you have trouble deciding when a work is done?
I do. Because I see things I want to do to improve it. More now than I used to.
I hope you're not going to improve anything that's on view in the galleries.
I'm working with pastel and ink now.
Are you?
Yeah, it's all pastel. I haven't got room for any oil paints where I live. I'm in an apartment that you haven't fit where I got oil paint on it.
But it sounds like you still love to work.
Oh, I have to, otherwise I wouldn't be around.
So you really feel like you never had a choice about what you were going to do?
Well, when I got married, I didn't paint for over 20 years at all.
Was that difficult?
Darn right, I kept having nervous breakdowns. Yeah. Then I thought, I gotta do something about that. So I had to teach myself all over how to paint again. I really did. I had to teach myself all over, and then I got blind on top of it. Totally blind there, when the cat came up to Minnesota. I had done it there because I was going to be with the boys in that area up there.
Sure.
So I went to this top surgeon, and I could watch the whole thing. The night before. And afterwards, I saw right away, and I saw color more from the surgeon.
So that was a real shot in the arm for your work.
Maybe it helped, yeah.
I like to think so. Well, we have a limited amount of time. Maybe we'll take a few questions from the audience.
Sure.
You seem like you're ready for anything.
Well, I study Whoopi Goldberg all the time. The rest are animals.
We would have encouraged her to come.
Wow.
Does anyone have anything that they would like to put in Miss Ireland's direction?
Artists, can you tell me about artists that when you were young, you really admired,
Oh, I like Van Gogh.
right?
Yes.
That's true.
Is that a plus?
A little bit. Now, let's see, who else, of course, let's see. I don't know what happened to the Albright brothers, but I like them.
Ivan Albright?
Yeah,
Well,
Ivan and
he did quite well for himself.
they got movie pictures.
He was a Chicago-based artist.
Oh yeah, in Illinois they had their studio. Well, you know, when all the artwork came out in the Life magazines in the 40s, I tore them out and saved them. They were my teachers. All that good artwork in the 40s. There were a lot of good artists in the 40s too. So.
Sounds like school and your exposure to art in school is really important. And it's something that is hard to come by now. Harder,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I don't like to be alone all the time. I'm alone too damn much. And I don't want to hang out with the old people. I want something different, you know.
Don't worry, you'll shake me pretty soon.
Wow.
Anything else?
Are your pastels also landscapes, or do you
Yeah,
do portraits?
a little bit, yeah. Up in northern Wisconsin, they're so beautiful. Along the Mississippi, those big bluffs and, yeah, and those big Victorian homes up there, I like to do those. Then add a couple people in them. For kids.
Are the people out of your mind? I mean,
Yeah, I'll mine. Yeah, my cat stares at those two people in that picture. Look out there, he's looking at the people in that picture. My cat.
I have some other questions, yes.
Yeah, there's a painting of a Green Bay Packer football player that was hanging up in a bar in Madison that was called The Office. It's not there anymore. But
Oh, the
do
office.
you remember painting that picture and the story behind it?
You know, my son's been trying to find that thing. I did Alan
Amici.
coming through the football line.
Yeah.
Badger, not
Boy,
Panther.
famous running back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
Sounds like sort of an unusual subject for you.
yeah, I don't like football. But anyway, he didn't pay me much either. Anyway, we don't know where, since the office had it, that was a bar, the office, called the office down there.
Yeah, so you could call and say, I'm at the office.
Yeah, I don't know where it went.
Well, how did you happen to have a painting hung up at Jack Burke's? It was just a little hole in the wall place.
Yeah, it was it's beautiful now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Jack Burke, my folks were friends of Jack and his wife, what was her name? Geez, I can't think of her name. Jack Burke's wife and him. My folks went there every Saturday night for steaks. And he had me do that painting, Jack did, for his little steakhouse.
Nice. That was your first commission, I bet.
No, he had me do decoys all over the bathroom floor. She wanted them not wood, he wanted colored decoys. So he commissioned me to do those.
Did you sign them?
No, I didn't. But I did most of my best work in the bathroom. I never had a studio, you know. I still don't. I went on top of my bed. And I did my work in my mother's big bathroom upstairs, because that's where the heat was. That's where I did street dance up there in the bathroom. I was listening to Arthur Godfrey every day. Let's go.
Lois, can you talk about any of your peers, particularly any of the other ones from Barton's book, the rural artists?
Oh,
Friends of any of those people?
yeah, I like that one that did the drawing of all the doves, carrier pigeons. That was a beautiful piece of work. I knew Leela Smith real well. Remember Leela Smith? And oh, she's such a nice lady, and she could paint real nice pictures there at the Rural Art Show. She and I kind of connected there.
Last question.
Did your time in New York ever make you want to paint with an urban realist perspective?
Actually, I was in this one class, and everybody was doing New York kind of stuff, and I was doing a barn right in the middle of New York. Telling you that Chinese teacher was mad at him. You're smart,
I thought you were dabbling in surrealism. Anyway, Lois,
I don't even know why I went there.
thank you so much for making the trip down from the Twin Cities. It's an honor to have your work in the museum.
Thank you. Well, my next thing is to become a comedian.
Wander around, enjoy Lois's show, Warrington's show in the Henry Street Gallery, the Coordinates exhibition in the main gallery, and the rooftop where you can have a beverage and some food and relax and enjoy the view of the city. Thanks for coming.